Hi, all, and welcome to the Faithful Podcast. I am your host, A.R. Crown. Today, let us discuss our thought process and the factors that contributes to them. Personally, I had to unlearn many things throughout my life that I thought were true. As it turned out, they weren't. Now, being able to do that is an asset to one's life. And one thing in particular that gives weight to our belief system is the influence of others. I can remember being taught as a young man how manhood is determined by the number of women you conquer. I had to grow and mature into the realization that that was a lie. The truth was the exact opposite. The true measure of manhood is how he treats the one woman's love that he has awakened, the one woman that he has chosen. I was resistant to this new concept at first, and in my mind, I replayed all the songs that justified being a player and being unfaithful and promiscuous. I replayed all the conversations that I've had with my peers about it, and they all agreed with the lie as well. How could this be? Was I crazy? No. I suffered under the same pressure that we were all suffering from. Negative influences. I wonder how could those older and supposedly more wiser men than me still believe and spread this untruth? The answer was they were not brave enough to confront it in their own minds. The pressure was too great. First, admitting that we are wrong takes a certain level of maturity. And then having to tell your friends and face their ridicule about being in love was another deterrent from turning against something that is not sustainable. I had to face it and relearn what manhood meant. I had to get my mind back and free myself. This epiphany sparked me to explore other so-called truths that I believed. I monitored my thoughts and beliefs and questioned them. I saw through the veil. 1 Corinthians 13 and 11 speaks to this maturing and advises us to put childish things away. But how can one do this without knowing what is true and what is not? I remember my teenage years and how there were fights every weekend at the teen clubs I used to frequent when certain songs came on. It was like a switch was flipped as soon as the beat dropped. Almost as if we had hypnotized minds that were pre-programmed for violence once a certain melody or frequency was played. I have never been a fan of violence. However, I would watch as punches, bottles, and chairs were being thrown for no apparent reason other than a song telling you to do it. There is that pressure. There is that influence. There is that lie that says this is what we are supposed to do. This has not stopped, but now, instead of fighting, the youth are shooting to kill. Our minds are naturally programmable. This fact is why Sprite commercials and other product advertisements are so effective. Their slogan for Sprite is "Obey your thirst," and the key word is obey. Not only do they make us thirsty in their commercials, but we become thirsty for their product in particular. Because this is what we must drink when thirst hits, right? The commercial says so. Now, we are not weak-minded for falling for these tactics. In fact, there are a team of scientists, focus group, and experiments that have been conducted to yield this desired result. The same as the fights in the club, the player mentality, and believing in lies. We are simply obeying. We have to get our minds back because now that influential pressure is becoming nearly unbearable. In fact, it is a profession literally called an influencer. Their job is to convince you to act a certain way and to buy certain products. And it works, for some of us seemingly can't resist and are ready to obey anything that the masses agree with. You don't have to be one of them. for you should always seek the truth. It may be uncomfortable. It may seem counterintuitive, but it's so much better than being led by those who do not have your best interests at heart. Ask God to remove the veil. Ask God for clarity and understanding. Ask God for wisdom. Get your mind back and live the life you were born to, a life of freedom. And I am so rooting for you. And I thank you for joining us today. And as always, we are the Faithful Podcast, faithful to the Word, faithful to ourselves, and faithful to you.